All right, go on day 2 of the great journey eastbound.
Day 2. Let's see. We made it to Missoula, and of all the states we've seen so far, Montana was probably the most scenic.
The most savage.
Pretty savage. Yeah, the people pretty savage. But yeah, so we started off our day. We left Missoula, and I think our first stop, I missed the Starbucks exit, and we realized that I'm completely and hopelessly addicted to my Starbucks double shot, which most of you probably already know that.
Which is really 5 shots, by the way.
It's actually 5 shots, yeah. And I missed the Starbucks exit, where the Starbucks was like right off of the interstate. I saw it go by, and I was too late. And
so 6:45 in the morning when we left.
yeah, and so it's quite a while before there's anywhere. And the next stop is this place called Bozeman, Montana. And the rest of Montana that we saw was pretty savage, like a lot of, I don't know, Montana people. But Bozeman was kind of like Bend, Oregon, like the little strip malls and what have you. It's pretty high class, and but the Starbucks was like 2.5 miles in to Bozeman, because I saw a sign for it, and I had to have it, so I went and got it. We got out of Bozeman. It was nice, and then our next stop was,
well, but that stop took us, we had to go 2.5 miles off the freeway to get the Starbucks. We lost a lot of time. Basically, the bottom line is the rest of the day, Justin kept referring to Bozeman as like our Achilles heel. If it hadn't been for Bozeman, we would be there already. So Bozeman became sort of this iconic speed bump in our trip, even though we thought it was beautiful.
It was nice, but just little stops like that when you're driving this far, you know, hindsight is 20/20, and you're like, should we have stopped? Maybe not, you know, maybe we would be a little more rested if we got there just even a half hour earlier, you know. But anyway, yeah, so your mind kind of messes with you. But yeah, the next town we stopped in Montana was Billings, which is just kind of a hickish town. And we stopped and ate at a Cracker Barrel.
First time at the Cracker Barrel.
And that's where I got the wolves howling at the moon, which is well worth it. I'll hold on to that, hopefully forever.
And then actually we looked like we belonged in Montana. I almost got one that had just a gun, somebody holding a gun, and it just said Montana. But that was a little bit ill for me.
Yeah.
But the wolves.
And so from Billings, that's where we started to kind of enter the Great Nothing, as we call it, which is Wyoming. And there's just really nothing in Wyoming at all. I mean, it's okay to look at, but I don't know, it's just a lot of hills and, I don't know, bad
rocks, boulders that looked like giant piles of poo, literally.
That, yeah.
Cows.
Yeah, there's really nothing in
We saw one trailer park / junkyard. Oh, those are the highlights of the Great Nothing.
Yeah. So we just kind of cut diagonally southeast through the corner of Wyoming. So we weren't in Wyoming for that long, really, before we got into South Dakota. And
the big push was to make it to Mount Rushmore.
That was the big push.
Which closed at 9 p.m. And keep in mind, we're losing an hour every day as we go east. So we're leaving earlier in the morning, and we're getting later and later on our arrival.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that a drive across country that you would be affected by time zones, but actually you are. You just lose an hour. You know, you think you can have this much daylight or this much time in the day to get somewhere, and you actually have an hour less. Because if you're driving all day, you'll pretty much cross through a time zone every day. But anyway.
So Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, Mount Rushmore. it's fine getting there. You know, we're able to go full speed, but it's getting dark and it's getting close to that place closing.
And we're in the mountains, yeah.
But we start entering these really sketchy roads, like even though it's not that far off the interstate, it's really sketchy getting there in the 23 miles that it is off the interstate. And we get there, and you know, we park, we pay, and we start walking up to it. And I had been told that it was lit up at night. We walk through.
Jim Turney is the one that said.
Jim said it was lit up.
There's a light show or something like that.
We get up there, and I can't see anything.
It's pitch black.
It's black. I mean, it's lit up as you're walking through the memorial area. But you get up there, and I can start seeing the faces, but they're black. They're in the dark.
They're in the pitch black dark. And keep in mind, we are running. It is now 8:28 at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we get up there, and then I start to see some people gathered, you know, by the viewpoint
There's
area.
a bunch of people for that late.
Yeah, and it's a lot of old timers, you know, with their wives, probably servicemen. And but then we get up there, and there's a woman talking to everybody through, you know, a PA, and right as I start to Google whether or not it actually does light up or not, it does light up.
Well, I see people with cameras, and they're holding them up like they're waiting. So all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, something's happening. So we keep watching, and then it slowly starts to light up from underneath.
Yeah, it slowly starts to light up from underneath, and it's kind of like warehouse lights where you flip the switch, and they slowly kind of warm up. But once they did warm up, and they actually illuminated the monument pretty well. It was really cool, actually.
It was really cool. They were playing the Star Spangled Banner over the loudspeakers, and everybody sang along. Yeah. And then they invited all the servicemen down to the stage, which was this lower portion below the mountain, which we didn't even know was there. We couldn't see from up above. And then they lowered the flag and folded the flag, and then each serviceman said what their name was and where they'd served, and it was actually really, really cool and really moving, I thought.
Yeah, it was cool. So anyway, we get out of there, and as you're driving past, you run into a little town called Keystone.
Oh yeah.
And Keystone is like an old west town. There's a saloon there.
A saloon.
All the building storefronts have like a porch, and it's really cool. And we drove through there, and then we finally got to our final destination for that day, which was Rapid City. And I think that's basically it.
That's basically day 2. We checked into the Super 8, snuck the cats in.
Oh yeah, the Super 8 sucked.
Super 8 sucked.
It looked nice when you got in there, but the bed was bad. The cats were able to go underneath the bed, and so...
And here's what I've discovered. You realize when a hotel is not nice when there is no Kleenex in the bathroom. And what was the other thing I noticed? I can't remember. Oh, and no toiletries. Towels. Yeah, only 2 towels and no toiletries, like no shampoo or anything. So that's how you know when you're in a Super 8. But it was cheap and it was easy. And that is the end.
And the other thing is, one more thing, maybe I touched on this before, but the kitties. The kitties have to be brought up to the hotel room, and then at the Super 8, they were able to get underneath the bed where they didn't really want to come out from. And then the litter box goes in, and they go do their business in the middle of the night when we're sleeping. And we wake up to cat litter all over the carpet. And we're trying to like be stealth about the whole cat situation, because we don't know if there's a fee or whatever. But anyway, there's cat stuff everywhere, and I gotta retrieve the cats, put them in the cage, take them back out to the truck.
The cage! The carrier, babe.
The carrier. all of our stuff, luggage, you know, I got it. Jenny's got to put makeup on and, you know, do her hair and stuff, so I'm responsible for all that, which is fine. But
you wouldn't want to see me without it, just a little bit.
But it's just a little crazy to drive 13 hours and then unload everything, and then sleep.
And get 5 hours of sleep.
And then rally the cats back in the cage, and then do it all over again the next day.
Oh, the next day. We will be telling you about the next day in the next installment, which will be day 3. All right, sign off, babe.
Signing off.